My name's Jackie Ager and I'm a freelance arts manager working mainly on the Isle of Wight.
The research subject we've been exploring in Time Being 2 is patients going to GPs saying that they are experiencing depression, anxiety and isolation, and then the GPs being able to offer them an Arts on Prescription programme, which is an alternative to prescribing antidepressants.
By the time people come along to interview, we know that they are within the criteria, which is mild to moderate depression, and that's according to the NICE guidelines for depression. That's the National Institute of Clinical Excellence. So we know that they're in the mild to moderate spectrum, and we know that they are essentially in primary care. Anybody who's been treated in secondary or tertiary care won't be eligible for this. So we know quite a bit about them already. Mostly there are people who are suffering with acute or first episodes of depression. And very often this is because of something that's happened to it's life problems. So people who've had a bereavement or divorce, or perhaps moved to the area and are quite isolated. All kinds of reasons that trigger depression. Another aspect of Time Being is that a lot of the participants suffer from what we describe as having low social capital, and that means really that they don't have a social network, they don't participate in community or social activities, and perhaps also they don't have somebody who's close to them, what we describe as a confiding relationship. So someone that they perhaps can't unburden themselves to. Time Being is a 12-week programme, and it's a mixed course of arts activities. So there's 4 distinct art forms, and these involve visual arts is the first one, followed by music, followed by movement, and the final one is creative writing. We did play around quite a lot with the order of these art forms, the orders of the activities. But we discovered that this order, the one I've just described, is really the preferential way of doing things. And for the reason that the visual arts one, the first one, is the thing that people most immediately think about when they think about doing arts. They expect to come and do painting and drawing. So that's the one where they get used to the group. They'll do a few activities that's by themselves or with other people. So it's meant to relax them, start taking themselves out of themselves a little bit, and really just start feel comfortable within the group situation.
This enables the patient to engage in creative activities, discover their own creative skills, and build new social networks and make new friends, so that they can themselves learn to cope and overcome the problems of depression, anxiety, and isolation.
Art can be a very powerful thing, because everybody, I believe, has an innate creativity, and discovering that is tricky, because you've maybe been put off at school or by your family or somebody close to you who doesn't value that. But discovering it yourself and finding that you can do something, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks about it, you can do something that you enjoy and enables you to express yourself, is a very powerful thing. But doing it in a social group is even more so, because you get the reflection from other people comment on it, and it's very striking to see the change in people as a result, I think, of doing this in a social setting.
The research results for Time Being 2 reported statistically significant reductions in the levels of depression and anxiety, and increased levels of mental well-being.
Whereas what Time Being does is offer people back the possibility of gaining control over their lives again, and taking it into their own hands without that clinical intervention. So some GPs are more open to that than others, but it's difficult. How do you prove a negative if somebody gets better through our intervention, doesn't turn up at the GP surgery again? Then they're not then impacting on the GP's pill bill. So it's very difficult to prove. But I know from what people have said to me, I know from the feedback we get from participants that it's a hugely valued hugely valued programme, and I just wish that we could continue to do it, really. There are other pockets of the country that run things similar, but Time Being in its spread of art forms and in its kind of thoughtful treatment of people and its empowering of people, I think is pretty unique.
The research for Time Being 2 also suggests that there could be significant opportunities for reducing levels of depression in other long-term health conditions, particularly for older people and for those people who are unemployed or experiencing isolation. Time Being 2 has developed a toolkit for you to use as an Arts on Prescription programme to counter depression and anxiety, and you can view and download this on our website.